Welcome back to the God of Thunder podcast. I am the God of Thunder coming to you from Las Vegas, Nevada. Beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, unless you're driving down the 15th freeway and you see that big dumpster can on the side of the road. But this is the second installment of the God of Thunder podcast, and let's jump right into it. So I'm going to be going over the recap from the Lions and Chargers game. Heartbreaker, Justin Herbert did his thing. It was definitely an offensive game. Both defenses looked horrendous, but both offenses were clicking, minus the Chargers' first drive, and then especially after Justin Herbert threw that pick. Justin Herbert threw for over 300 and four tutties with that INT. Keenan Allen absolutely went berserk with another huge game this season, 175 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he's just absolutely playing out of his mind this year. He's having a great year. I was one of the Chargers fans who thought it'd be a good idea to trade Keenan Allen at the beginning of the year because he is 31 years old, and I thought he was going to start, you know, coming on the decline. And I didn't think he was going to play this well, but he has certainly surprised me. I'm happy to say that I was wrong when it came to that take. Going on, QJ got his first touchdown, which was awesome. He did have 3 drops in that game, which was kind of concerning. Even though I think we got saved on all 3 of those drops because there was penalties on each one of those plays for like pass interference. But that touchdown was nice. It was good play action. Herbert looked good, threw a great ball to QJ. He high pointed it, caught it with both hands, didn't catch it with his body. So that's really good to see. And moving forward, hopefully he could catch more balls like that. Dicker had a solid game. We put up 38 points. I think he had a field goal among those 38 points, and he was 5 for 5 for his extra point. Kellen Moore, going back to the offense, Kellen Moore was super great, and he was aggressive on his play calling. I think that came more out of necessity because we were trailing the majority of the game, if not the whole game. I'm not sure if we had any leads. But I think that's the way that our offense should play moving forward, with that aggressive type mindset because we know we can't really rely on our defense at all. But I really, really enjoyed the play calling, super aggressive downfield throws. Herbert was on fire that whole game. It was real reminiscent of that Charger game back in 2021 when we were playing against the Raiders and Justin Herbert was throwing all over the field. We were going for it on 4th downs. He was hitting key targets, hitting Mike Williams in the end zone, 2-point conversions. That game was just a really, really great game. And as we all know, it came down to that final kick at the end of the game in overtime. Going to the defense, just real quick to recap, we gave up almost over 200 yards in the run game in the first half, which was abysmal. They do have 2 really good running backs in Gibbs and Montgomery, but the defense just lacked energy, and it was just a poor showing by the defensive line. The linebackers were over pursuing, allowing for that cutback lane, which was disappointing, and that's really what allowed those massive runs, especially to Montgomery, who rushed for, I think, 75 yards and a touchdown on one of those. So that was disappointing. The defense also seemed like they were in the wrong coverages. Either the players weren't reading or playing the coverages right, or they were just on their heels a lot of the game, which was allowing the Lions, especially on those 4th downs, to throw to where they wanted to throw. Blitz packages were kind of bad. Let's be honest. They didn't get to the quarterback. We had absolutely 0 sacks, which is crazy to think about when you have a healthy Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, and Tui on the field. So that was disappointing. But on the bright side, we are facing the Green Bay Packers this week. They do have a good offensive line, but they are not the Lions. They do not have that quarterback. Their running backs are good, but they don't have the same running backs. And we'll jump right into the Green Bay Packers and the Los Angeles Chargers. All right, so the Chargers are coming in at 3-point favorites, traveling to Lambeau Field to play the Green Bay Packers. We're 4-5, in need of a bounce back game, and I think this is going to be that game. The Packers are struggling on offense. They have a really good pass defense and a mediocre run defense, which I think the Chargers are going to try and exploit. Um, They're allowing just 188 yards in the pass defense. And like I said, super horrible, poor defense, allowing 133 yards. We've seen a couple of these poor run defenses this season. However, we haven't been able to take advantage of these run defenses. So hopefully, this is a game that we can, especially with a fully healthy Austin Eckler and Joshua Kelly, who could really combine to be a really, really good tandem. Um, the Packers and Jordan Love are coming off of what I would call Jordan Love's best game so far this season. Even though it was a loss to the Steelers, he did have two touchdowns, two interceptions, and threw for almost 300 yards. Even though that's a number he hasn't eclipsed this season yet. So going right into the Packers, again, I think what they're going to focus on utilizing is their two-headed monster because of the lack of Jordan Love's capability of throwing. Aaron Jones, AJ Dillon, two of some of the best running backs in the league. Aaron Jones has been injured this season, so that's why you see his carries are a little lower than what AJ Dillon has, even though his rush yards are pretty good. His average carries per yard, our average yards per carry is just a little higher than AJ Dillon. But I would expect for them to utilize Aaron Jones to try to take advantage and exploit our defense. Just because we all seen what the Lions did to us last week, so I think it's something that Green Bay is going to try and really, really do or replicate of what the Lions did. Even though they don't have Jamar Gibbs or Montgomery, I think those two running backs are better than Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon. Offensive line, if we're looking at the Packers, they're actually really good this year. Surprisingly, they did really well holding up against the Steelers last week. They only allowed one sack. But even though they're protecting him, he's just really not able to. He's not a good quarterback. He's only had 12 touchdowns this season to 10 interceptions. He's averaging around like 223 pass yards a game, and he hasn't even eclipsed a 300-yard game this year. So he's struggling. He's really struggling. His completions percentage is one of the worst in the league. He misses on short passes. He misses on those deep passes, and he's really, really bad. So I'd expect the Packers to, probably play it out with him this year. But next year in the draft, I think the Packers are going to be drafting a new quarterback because Jordan Love is not that quarterback. He's just missing on the easy throws. And if you got a quarterback missing on the easy throws, you just can't really trust them to run your offense. It does look like he has talent, but unless he gets it together, which hopefully he doesn't do against the Chargers, and I don't think he will do against the Chargers, he's gonna be a backup next year. His favorite target, though, is Romeo Dobbs, who has 59 receptions for 6 touchdowns. So I expect Vato or Asante Samuel to take turns covering him. We're probably going to be in that mixed man zone coverage that Staley likes to run, and then that shell type coverage. But who knows what's going to happen? I don't think the Jordan Love led Packers offense is going to be able to really throw. I think they're going to focus on that run game. So yeah, the Packers are going to try and attack that run defense, allow Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon to control the game. They're going to want to keep our offense off the field, especially what they just witnessed Justin Herbert do and Kellen Moore do last week against the Lions. I mean, the Lions have a better defense than the Packers, I would say. So after seeing what they did, I mean, they're going to want to their best shot at winning basically is keeping Justin Herbert off the field and trying to control the clock by running the ball. The Packers aren't the Lions, and they don't have the weapons to carry out the play action that the Lions were able to do to us. So I don't think it's going to be that big of an issue. I think Staley tends to do really, really well against bad quarterbacks with limited options at the wide receiver, limited weapons. So I think the Chargers defense is going to bow up, and we're really going to force Jordan Love to throw the ball, which means I think we're going to get a couple turnovers. We got Alohi Gilman in the back, which is going to cause those turnovers, whether it be interceptions or forced fumbles. Kind of similar to the way that we played the Jets and the Bears this past season or this current season. So I'd expect the Chargers to come out and kind of show that type of performance against the struggling Packers. Going into the Chargers, I think our key to the game is really going to be a healthy dose of the run game, both Austin Eckler and Joshua Kelly, because I think it's really going to open up that pass game, right? and that play action. Like I said, the Packers do have a stellar pass defense. It's going to be imperative that we do get that run game going to allow for that play action to open up the passing game and to get Justin Herbert on the outside of the pocket where he's really, really, I think, in my opinion, the best quarterback in the league. When he's on the run out of the pocket, he just hits his wide receivers downfield, and he's so accurate in those deep balls. I mean, we've seen it with him and Keenan Allen last week. He rolled out of the pocket on that fourth down, hit Keenan Allen in stride. Such an amazing throw. So I think that's going to be our key. Austin Eckler and get Joshua Kelly some more carries, please. We need Joshua Kelly to carry the ball. He's more of our downhill runner. He really needs to show out this week. And I think he will. I think as long as we do that, like I said, the rest of our offense is going to be open up. So again, Everett this week is out. I think he had a chest injury, so I would expect Parmesan to step into his place. And we all know Justin Herbert's favorite target in the red zone is Parmesan. So I'd expect him to use that big body, those big hands, get open in the end zone, and Justin Herbert to hit him for at least a touchdown. QJ is going to have to step up again. He had a really good game last week, but I expect him I expect Kellen Moore to get him going this week, especially with Keenan Allen. I think Jari Alexander, the Packers cornerback, is going to be covering Keenan Allen, and they're going to want to shut him down because he's been going off this year, right? So I think the number one priority for the Packers defense is to really shut down our passing game and limit Keenan Allen uh, on receptions and targets. If they could do that, they may have a potential of winning this game. Do I think they're going to be able to do that? I do not because I think we're going to be able to run the ball against this team. And I think that that's really going to open up the play action. The defense should have a solid bounce back game. I'm telling you, I don't know what it is, but when Brandon Staley's defense plays mediocre to bad quarterbacks, we win, and we win big. So we kind of go through that right now. I did some research and was kind of looking back at this game as well as this season and the past season. And Staley's defense from 2022 to 2023 versus bad quarterbacks, we're 10-3. Okay. We allow 210 yards a game, less than a touchdown a game, and one interception. Against very good quarterbacks or average to good quarterbacks, we're allowing 290 yards, over two touchdowns, and just under one interception a game. So, I mean, what does this tell us? Brandon Staley does really know how to play against bad quarterbacks. He knows how to take away what they're comfortable with. But against good quarterbacks, he cannot stop them to save this team and to get a win, as you see. And then versus the bad quarterbacks, I think they're 10-3. Those three losses came to Russell Wilson, who was starting to fill it towards the end of last season. I know he's a fringe. He's on the fringe right now of being a good quarterback. He's played much better this season, even though last season he was horrible. But he got a win against Russell. Or, excuse me, they had the loss against Russell Wilson. I'm considering him a bad quarterback as of now. They had a loss against Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo last year was on a San Francisco 49ers team that was stacked. And then their other loss was this year against a bad quarterback against Ryan Tannehill. He only had one touchdown that game, but he threw the ball and was accurate, and when he needed to make a pass, he made a pass. Against very good quarterbacks for the past two seasons, as we could see, we're 4-9. Now those wins have come against, again, fringe good, fringe bad quarterbacks, which is Kirk Cousins. We got to win this season. We got to win against Derek Carr last season. We got to win against Tua last season. And then we got to win against Kyler Murray last season. But as far as this season goes, every good quarterback we've played, whether it be Tua, Jared Goff, Patrick Mahomes, and I would consider Kirk Cousins a good quarterback. The defense has allowed over 300 yards for each of those quarterbacks. I think Jared Goff threw for 333 yards. Kirk Cousins was over 300 yards. Tua and Patrick Mahomes went for over 400 yards. But like I'm saying, those are elite quarterbacks. And Brandon Staley, for some reason, just chokes when it comes to facing elite quarterbacks. So this week, moving forward, we're going to play another mediocre quarterback in Jordan Love. I mean, as you can see here, all the bad quarterbacks. I mean, we got Nick Foles, career backup. Baker Mayfield, who's the starter right now, but it's probably going to be a career backup. Jimmy Garoppolo, he just got benched. Marcus Mariota, career backup. Jacoby Brissett, career backup. Davis Mills, another backup. Zach Wilson, he's starting for the Jets, but we know he's going to be a backup. And then we got Tyson Bagent, who is going to be a backup. I mean, it's a good story for him, but he's going to be a backup. Aiden O'Connell, I think, has some potential. He's making some throws. I think he could be really good for the Raiders. We'll see how that plays out. But he was a backup this season. And then Ryan Tannehill, who is going to get let go from the Titans this year. He's backing up a rookie quarterback in forgot his name, but whatever rookie they have over there. So just to kind of recap, bad quarterbacks, Brandon Staley is awesome. 10-3. Make bad quarterbacks look silly. Just about 200 yards, less than a touchdown a game, less than about an INT a game. Good quarterbacks, not so much. 4-9, about 300 yards a game, 2 touchdowns a game, less than an interception. So with that, I think that leads me to my prediction. And I think based off the information that we have, the loss that we had against the Lions, the Chargers are going to win, and it's going to be like a pick me up game, kind of one of those get right games against a struggling Packers team whose defense is good, stopping the pass, but they're not playing Justin Herbert and Keenan Allen, or they haven't played Justin Herbert and Keenan Allen this season. And I think we're going to be able to run the ball this week. That's going to be a good emphasis. Get Justin Herbert on those play action passes, roll him out, and hit Keenan Allen and QJ on the run. So my score prediction, I think the Chargers are going to put up about 28 points, and the Packers are going to put up around 17. It's just going to be over. I think the over for this game is 43.5. So I'm predicting them to go over the game. I think the Chargers defense is going to come up with a couple turnovers, reminiscent of the past 2 games we played against the Bears and the Jets. And the Chargers are going to come out on top, and we're going to be at 5-5. Okay, 5-5 is not a bad place, especially with everything going on in the AFC right now. I think we know that Joe Burrow, some breaking news that came out yesterday, Joe Burrow's hurt wrist. He's out for the season. So the Bengals, who are 5-5, taking up a spot in front of us, I don't think they're going to win much more games, especially without Joe Burrow. I mean, when he was injured, you've seen what the Bengals were able to do, which was not much. And then you also got news in that same division that Deshaun Watson is also out for the season with a shoulder injury. So they're also another team with a great defense that's in front of us that I do not think are going to be able to win many more games. If they do, it's going to be defensively, kind of like what the Steelers are doing right now. And do I think the Steelers are going to hit a losing streak? I really think they are. They're 6-3 right now, but they've been skating by with narrow wins, which is good for them because I'm a big Mike Tomlin fan. But I don't think they're going to be able to carry that over to the second half of the season, and I think they're going to really start to decline. So good news, like I said, for the Chargers. We do have some spots opening up, and I think we're going to be able to move forward. Say we win this game, go 5-5, and then we have a tough Ravens team that's going to be coming up, and that's a whole different story. But let's get through this week. Let's travel to Lambeau Field, get our boys going, get a W, and come back, and then we'll go over it. All right? So again, this is the God of Thunder. I am your host of the God of Thunder podcast. I really hope you enjoyed it. I hope you like my analysis, my breakdown of the game. If you have any comments or questions, go ahead and put it in the comments. And please like and subscribe if you really like my content. I'm going to be coming back next week with a breakdown of the game on Sunday, as well as a preview of the Chargers-Ravens. All right. I appreciate you guys for stopping by. This is the God of Thunder. As you know, Chargers bring the lightning. We bring the thunder. Bolt up, baby. I want to get a